precious. How they have thirsted for this. How long they have thirsted for this. And Old Trafford feels as Old Trafford should feel. The night it all changed. The night they came to life. Erik Ten Hag has his teeth into the job. Manchester United have their teeth into the season.
How are we doing, everyone? Sam here, live United People's TV. I'm getting all the festive cheer now. What is it, 17 days to Christmas? I'm normally a Scrooge. Feeling pretty Christmassy this year. We're here to talk about Cody Gakpo, as always. I mean, we're going to speak about him most days, really, aren't we? That was because he gave an interview with, was it NRC in the Netherlands, ahead of their game, of course, against Argentina. On Friday, he spoke about Manchester United. He spoke about his future. He spoke about what happened in the summer, and he spoke about what's going to be happening going forward. So we're going to speak about it in the comments this morning as a community. There's going to be lots to run through from the game yesterday. Man United losing 4-2 to Cadiz, two completely different 11s. Stephen saying, why are you so happy? I don't know. I'm in a good mood. Look, we've got skulls up on the wall. We haven't had skulls up on the wall before. And I fancy putting that shirt up today. So I put that shirt up. The shirt from that season. Yes, that season, that 2007-8 season. I fancied a little bit of change of decoration. Why not? Who's down here in the comments? Let's have a look. Ray, Benson, Suman, good morning to you. Francis, Rotham, Amy, I can see you there too. Chris, and Mohadazal, Simon McGill, Klein, Freddie, Sigmund. I think you said you were going to hospital yesterday, so I hope that went well, mate. I think I saw that in the comments. Jason, Thomas Wood, Nizam, Brian, who's on Facebook? Ian Cartwright, good morning to you, sir. We've got Haley on YouTube too. Josh, you mentioned it down there in the comments. Anybody else? It is cold AF this morning in the UK. Heating's been on for 2 hours already, so I'm basically skint. But look, let's talk. It was good to see United back in action last night. It was good to see Kobbie Mainoo play and score. Yes, please. Probably the best performance from the game was Zidane Iqbal in the first half and Kobbie Mainoo in the second half. And I will be speaking about all of that. We'll speak about Ten Hag's comments after the game. You would have seen my match reaction there last night. Well, I ran through that. If you couldn't be bothered to watch the game, there's me. And I watched it and I gave you a 10-minute review. But look, look, it's a very good point there. I'm lucky I work indoors. Chris, nobody likes a bragger. Right? Nobody likes a bragger. I've seen way too much chat from the Australians this morning about how it's like 25, 30 degrees there. None of that this morning. We're just talking about how bad it is in the UK. All right. 31 degrees in South Africa. Robin Williams, that's not what I want to know. But look, let's talk about Cody Gakpo, eh? The video I did yesterday was kind of comparing Gakpo and Ramos because I felt that video needed to be done. The reason I felt that video needed to be done was because we've obviously been linked with Gakpo. We went after Gakpo in the summer. I spoke about Gonzalo Ramos before the World Cup and said I mean, if we're looking at potential, not Ronaldo replacements per se, but Ronaldo's out of the squad. There is a spot in the squad, therefore we have to replace that position. And I said Gonzalo Ramos is one to watch. And obviously he's now burst into the limelight after that hat-trick that he scored for Portugal. And they are different types of players. And it's something that we've spoken about here as a community quite a bit, actually. Exactly what the profile of this new attacker is going to be. Whether it's going to be a number 9, someone like Erling Haaland, someone who just makes that penalty box his home, doesn't really leave there. I know my headline says Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo? Who's saying that? No? Okay, sorry. Confusing me a little bit there. I've no idea what you're talking about there, Suman, because I've just looked and I haven't even got Cody Gakpo's name in the headline. That's a bit weird. Sam, how you doing there? Nice to see you there joining as a member. Paula at 0 degrees in Belfast. Oh, look. Whoops. Cody. Go on, Cody. That's 2 times where I've actually done. Cody Gakpo. Maybe that's why I'm in such a chipper mood this morning. Whoops. Oh, well. Anyway, Cody Gakpo is the even better cousin of Cody Gakpo. But no, look, I'm sure you can let me off for that one. Jump somehow. I'm going to run through his interview here that he gave where he spoke about Manchester United. He spoke about what happened in the summer. And he also spoke about what's coming next. Because I'd be very surprised if United didn't go back in for him. I'll tell you one thing I want to say here quickly before we run through this interview. I think the fact that Manchester United went in for Cody Gakpo before this all kicked off at the World Cup will only serve to help us a little bit. It shows Cody Gakpo that when we come back in for him, which is, I would probably consider it an inevitability. I think it's more about the timing thing. We don't know whether it's going to happen in January or whether it's going to happen in the summer. And also the big question mark about what's going on with, the Glazers selling the football club, which I'm going to be doing a video on this afternoon, by the way. Surin, you've joined as a member as well. Let me know where you're watching from, buddy. I'll try and give you a shout out. Cody Gakpo. What an idiot. Yeah, remember today, by the way, as always, let me just pull this up here. Drop a like on the video. We're at 100 right now. We need to get to 500 and that bad boy gets opened. And it's a good one today. You'll enjoy it. So make sure we get to 500 before we finish the stream and I'll open the Cantona Christmas box. But let's talk about what Cody Gakpo said in this interview. So this interview was with, I think, NRC, a Dutch outlet. And he spoke about quite a few things. And I'm going to focus specifically on what he said about Manchester United, about what happened previously in the summer, and what's coming up now. And this is what he said. He goes, that was a tough period in terms of his transfer from PSV to Man United falling through and Rangers knocking PSV out of the Champions League. He said, that was a tough period. I learned from that and I'm going to do it differently. What comes, that comes. Suppose you want to go from RKC to PSV, but that club is not coming. Then you can panic. He's talking about his move to United. He goes, I thought about Manchester United, but when that didn't happen, I couldn't remember. And I started to have doubts. And then Leeds did come. And he's like, should I go there? He's like, nah. Now I'm waiting for everything. I haven't heard from Manchester United. When they come, I'll think about it. And I will also seek the help of God in these decisions. Now, I don't know whether that's lost in translation. That you can consider that an important word. Uses the word when instead of if. And as I said, I don't know whether that's completely lost in translation. Leo, if I had a box of sardines, it would stink. And Suman, I apologize about everything. There we go. But Cody Gakpo has been, he's speaking about it. He will want to leave PSV in 2023. Whether that is in January or whether that is in the summer, depends on the size of the bid that comes in. Depends on whether Manchester United, I imagine, come in. I don't know who else will be interested in Gakpo, but there will be other clubs. We had effectively a free run at Gakpo in the summer prior to the whole Antony situation developing. I think I kind of stand by this. Of course, this is purely hypothetical, right? But I stand by the fact that if Manchester United had operated slicker as a football club, and by that I mean, look, I think we've spoken about this in quite a lot of detail, but I'm just going to go back over it one last time. I think the players that we signed during the summer were excellent. I think the way that we signed them was very, very poor. How much we paid for Casemiro, how much we paid for Antony, how much we paid for Martinez, although Martinez is kind of looking like a bit of a bargain now. If we had gone earlier for Antony, because we tried to play it down, didn't we? Effectively, what happened this summer is Manchester United lost our first two games. The Glazers panicked. The Glazers clearly, this whole time, were thinking we're trying to sell the club. We now know that's the case. And they're thinking, right, we're going to have to protect the value of Manchester United this season. We can't afford for United to be out of everything this season. Good. There you go. There's more money to spend. Up until that point, we were looking at Rabiot. We were looking at Arnautovic. So ultimately, it came down to the Glazers. It came down to the fact that the money wasn't made available until we lost against Brighton and Brentford. And that is what drove the price of Antony up. And that's what made it such a late signing in the window. Had we operated slicker as a club, I think we could have signed Antony for around about 60 million. And I think we would have had pretty much enough money to sign Cody Gakpo and Antony this summer. It was a massive level of incompetence. But it comes from the owners. It came from the fact that the Glazers they didn't open the purse strings until they shat their pants. And as we've seen now with the Glazers confirming that they are looking, strategic investment opportunities, they called it, aka we're trying to sell the club. that's when they started going, oh, you know what? We can afford to sign new players. It's very frustrating that happened. But I think that's the reason why we didn't sign Cody Gakpo in the summer. But it won't stop us going back in for him. I'm going to see what you're saying down here in the comments. Daniel watching from Ireland. How you doing, buddy? Thank you very much for watching. Ten Hag will coach Gakpo as a number 9. Leo, that's what we spoke about in the video yesterday. That's why I did that Ramos and Gakpo comparison. I've seen enough goal-scoring instinct from Gakpo. Maybe not enough, but I've seen real goal-scoring instinct, left foot, right foot, header, different positions. Certainly doesn't operate purely as a left winger. I mean, if you watch that video, you see that currently his main position is actually on the right flank for the Netherlands. And that's because Memphis Depay's come back to fitness and they're playing as a sort of 2 up front. And it's seeing him drop to the right wing whilst Memphis is staying left. Completely the opposite of where he plays with PSV. He's got versatility to his game. He really, really does. And as I said, the fact that Manchester United went in for Gakpo during the summer, prior to all this kicking off, it's kind of a show of faith, I think. As far as Gakpo is concerned, he knows that Ten Hag wants to sign him for the right reasons, not just off the back of having a wild World Cup. And he is. Type it in the comments. Type yes or no. Do you think Gakpo will score against Argentina? Type yes or no in the comments, because obviously it's the biggest game. Oh, is it? Yeah, it is Argentina. Netherlands, Argentina in the quarterfinals, isn't it? Let me check that. I'm sure it is. World Cup. Oh, of course it is, because it's Brazil, Croatia on the other side. I know it's Netherlands, Argentina. There's a comment there from Matt saying, I have no idea how much Gakpo would be. We saw reports yesterday from, I think they were from France, that he'd be around about 75 million euros. Kind of seems, it seems about right. Considering that PSV turned down 43 million euros from Leeds for Gakpo during the summer, and then he's had a cracking season with PSV, that's going to add on 10, 15 million in value. And now he's having a storming World Cup. That's going to add 10, 15 million on in value, 43 million to 75 million. I can connect the dots. And as I said, the fact that Real Madrid are about to sign Endrick from Palmeiras for 16-year-old Endrick for 72 million euros. Yeah, I think 75 million seems there or thereabouts. Let me see what you think. Mark, you saying the days of the number 9 are dead. It's about the versatile forward now. I mean, Erling Haaland would completely disagree with you. And there are certain players that would disagree with you. Karim Benzema, I mean, Lewandowski. I would say I wouldn't say they're dead, but I would say there's the way that modern football has gone, there has to be an element of dynamism that's come to the fullbacks, and it's certainly coming to the number 9 position as well. You have to be comfortable doing more than just scoring goals, unless your team's that good and you're City and you can just allow Erling Haaland to have like 4 touches a game and 2 of them will be goals. Let me see whether you think that Cody Gakpo is going to score against Argentina. Josh, you think so? So does Mike. John, you don't. You disagree. Ian, Kevin, Carl, Nelly, Stu, Prince. I'll tell you what, widespread. You're going to have to get these bets on, people, because all of you are backing him to score. It's really annoying for me to do this at the same time. I can't tell you how much I'm multitasking here to then open a YouTube window, to go on there, to add a poll, whilst going back to here. It's annoying. It's frustrating. That's why I don't do them that often. And it's not really worth a poll anyway. If Leacher starts, no. I don't know whether Martinez will start. It's a bit annoying, really. But was it Otamendi and Romero are the 2 main centre-back choices for Argentina? I think that's a bit of a mistake from them. But I would be extremely surprised if Manchester United don't go in for Cody Gakpo. Like, ridiculously surprised. I just don't know whether that's going to be January or not. That's the question that we don't have an answer to at the moment. And that's why I've got an interview tonight with Kieran Maguire, Price of Football. That interview will be going up over the weekend. And I want to ask him and try and get some more insight into the Glazers selling Manchester United. Like, could they, if they wanted to, spend 100 million in January just all on a loan? Can they just increase that credit facility? Because United have got what's called a revolving credit facility. That's how they paid themselves recent dividends, because the company made a loss, the cash reserves were down, so they just increased the credit facility and gave themselves a dividend. Arseholes. So if they can do that from a dividend perspective, does that mean they could just do that from a signing perspective in January? Because technically that would add a little bit more money onto the value of Manchester United if they were able to spend money and bring in new players. Seeing down there, Ray, you're saying it's a joke. Hey, look, Argentina are playing well at the moment. Argentina kept a clean sheet without Martinez starting the other day. When he came in after the Saudi Arabia game, they kept a clean sheet. They got good players. I think Otamendi and Romero is a bit of a risk. I think Otamendi up against that Dutch team, it could be a bit of a risk. But look, hey, let's find out. MJ watching from Ethiopia. How you doing, buddy? And Stefan, that's the question we asked yesterday. So make sure you check that video out yesterday. Netherlands will be playing full on. I mean, that's how the Netherlands have played this. I know that it's jarred with quite a lot of Dutch fans. Certainly jarred with Marco van Basten, who seems to hate watching the Netherlands play. But geez, guys, we've watched Louis van Gaal as Manchester United manager for years. Let's not try and be surprised at how he's playing. He's a very pragmatic manager. I'll always remember the conversations that happened that he was telling Di Maria to take a shot, no, to take a touch before you took a shot, because it increased the chances of that shot going in. And sort of taking the natural attacking instincts away. Mate, that Di Maria signing, wow, that just didn't make any sense whatsoever. Julie, you're absolutely not. We've got Paula in here. We've got Amy in here. There's loads of ladies in here. It's not just men, although it is majority men, I have to admit. But Cody Gakpo. Let's see what goes on. He's waiting. As I said, look, let's pull these quotes back up here. Look, he's waiting on Manchester United. He said he hasn't heard anything yet. And when they come, he's going to think about it. I don't particularly think Cody Gakpo will have to think about it. If Manchester United come back in for Cody Gakpo and we offer the right amount of money, he will be moving to Manchester United. He'll be joining Erik Ten Hag and becoming a new face of this team going forward. And I would love for that to happen. What are we at now? We're 172 likes at the moment. We need another 330. So get generous, people. Start hitting that like button. There's so many. How many people are watching now? We've got over 1,000 watching and only 100. So there's 830 of you just sitting there, just doing this. Drop a like on the video. Let's get it up so we can open the Christmas giveaway box, because it's a good one. This you'll trust me. You want that box open today. Let's move on to the next talking point, and I think this is a good talking point. Society saying nobody wants him. Stop World Cup window shopping. We were talking about Gakpo in the summer. This isn't World Cup window shopping. This is just justification for the fact that we were looking at the right player. Other teams might be doing that. Other teams might only just be looking at Cody Gakpo now, but it's not something that we were doing as a football club. We were looking significantly earlier than that. This, I'll be honest, I'm quite happy about. I have to say, I'm pretty happy at this. Jordi Cruyff speaking about the future of Frenkie de Jong, and he said this: Frenkie de Jong is not for sale. He is a key player for us. So that time has passed. He's here and he's important for us. At the end last summer, after fair play discussions, he stayed here, and Frenkie is really loved at Barcelona. We can affect what I want to do at this point now. Hopefully, it depends what Manchester United do. Let's bury the conversation. Let's bury the conversation about Frenkie de Jong. We got stung last summer. Woo. We got stung last summer. I still don't know whether or not it was Erik Ten Hag being stubborn at the idea that he goes, no, of course Frenkie will want to join me. And I was always saying that you can, at the same time as Frenkie de Jong not wanting to leave Barcelona, at the same time as that, he can want to join. He would be happy to join Manchester United. Those two things could exist at the same time. But I don't personally want to see Manchester United going back in for Frenkie de Jong. I think as a football club, we've wasted enough time on it. Had it happened in the summer, I mean, it would have been transformative, and I still kind of think it would be transformative. But I just don't think we can afford to do that anymore. I think Casemiro has come in and done far more than I think anybody thought possible. He's not just a defensive midfielder. I think we can all confidently say that now. Casemiro is a baller. He's got long range passing on him. He's got an attacking threat. Headers against Chelsea. That goal he scored for Brazil the other day, an absolute perler. Casemiro's definitely got more to his game than just being a defensive powerhouse. I think he's just an overall midfield leader. We certainly need more than just Eriksen. Yes. But in my opinion, I don't think we should be going back in for Frenkie de Jong. We tried and we tried and we tried and we failed. He stayed good, right? You're missing out then, Frenkie, because we're gonna be winning all the pots at some point soon, hopefully. But yeah, I just wanted to say that because for some reason Jordi Cruyff was speaking about him and saying, look, he's not for sale. So like, let's go. We're done with Frenkie de Jong and let's move on. That's what I think. So anyway, let me see what you're saying in the comments before I can't just like shout my opinion at you and not see what you're saying. Let me pull this up there. John, you're saying a lot of us never wanted him full stop. Well, I mean, I certainly did. I certainly did. I could see how, and I still do feel that he would be transformative for this team, but I don't want to see Manchester United go down that path again. Learn from your mistakes and let's not do it. Josh, you're saying go all out for Bellingham. I've had like a heart and head conflict this week with Bellingham because I did that video so confidently before the World Cup, saying that we just can't go after Bellingham. It's just going to cost too much money. And then he goes and does that at the World Cup. And I'm like, oh, sod that, screw that, throw that out the window. Let's just go after him. I do personally think that the idea and the concept of signing Bellingham depends entirely on Manchester United getting new owners in before the end of the season. If Man United have new owners, then the possibilities are endless. If Man United don't have new owners, then we're going to have a massively restricted budget. And I just don't, even then, I really don't know about Bellingham. I really don't know whether we can actually afford him or whether he'd actually come to us in the first place. Carl, you're saying Casemiro has been transformative. Sahil saying Goretzka. That's an old school one. Abby, you're saying if there's any player Ten Hag and United sign in January, it would be Gakpo. Ramos would be expensive. I mean, Ramos and Gakpo, they probably price-wise going to be looking pretty similar, I think. Right now, we've got to look for the time after Casemiro too. I'm not sure what you mean with that one. And Charlie, I'm not. Yeah, you're right. We need to buy smart. We absolutely need to buy smart. And maybe there are smarter signings to be made. But let's take a quick look now at everything that happened yesterday because Man United were in action. I'm sure you saw my match reaction. If you didn't, well, go and watch it if you want. It doesn't really matter. But I enjoyed watching United. Ish. We were crap for the first 15, 20 minutes, and Ten Hag is not a happy bunny, and he's been having a go at the players for that. I'll run through those quotes. But there were individual performances. As much as there were negatives, we conceded 4. Defensively, we're basically all at sea in the first half and the second half. Mistakes got punished. The team, the youngsters in the second half certainly learned about mistakes getting punished. And yeah, it was Iqbal in the first half, and it was Kobbie Mainoo in the second half who really, really impressed me. But probably the most important thing for Manchester United at this moment in time from that game yesterday is this. Antony Martial played, was it 45? I think he played. And I quite enjoyed watching him. He played like a target man. And I think that's something that Martial has. I don't think Rashford definitely doesn't have it. I'm not sure we've got anybody else in our team that can do it. And that's playing with their back to goal. And the reason that's important is when you play with your back to goal, you're able to take a touch or two, and that allows your 2 wingers to overlap you, and then you can pass and feed them through. You can pass it back to a midfielder who can see the run in behind. It's really important for a centre-forward to be able to play with the back to goal. And Martial did that quite well yesterday. Quite a lot of times, had the ball, couple of touches, ran deep, and then just like passed it wide to one of the fullbacks. And he also got a goal. Straight after Cadiz scored, he had a really good chance where he spun his defender and fired in a good shot from about 25 yards. Good save from the goalkeeper. And ultimately, it was Martial who got the goal back in the first half with a little Panenka penalty. It was a cracking little penalty. Cheeky. We need Martial fit, firing, and scoring goals. That's what we need from him. Because currently, and I've said this so many times, but it's completely and utterly true. The success of Manchester United in the second half of the season currently relies on Antony Martial staying fit, which is a big problem. It's a massive problem. In the same way that if Diogo Dalot is injured, who steps in for him? I was happy with Martial yesterday, but I have to say, you can see him in the background there, probably reacting to his own performance. Donny van der Beek is just so bang average. It's just that's kind of what it is now. He's just distinctly. I'm waiting. I saw it in Andy Mitten's player ratings. I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for this Donny van der Beek performance that makes me go, I'm so wrong about Donny. Geez, what I jumped to a conclusion so early. But again, Donny van der Beek was just non-existent in that game yesterday. Aaron Wan-Bissaka was asleep for one of the goals. The first goal, that a ball got clipped into the back post. Wan-Bissaka was asleep for that. And just Wan-Bissaka yesterday, I'm not sure he had a progressive pass. Every time he got the ball there, he might have like darted forward, then he turned and went backwards. Wan-Bissaka at these sorts of games here, right, because Dalot is so good, because Bruno is so good, there's no chance that Van der Beek or Wan-Bissaka are getting a chance in the Premier League. They have to use these games. For them, for us as fans, we might be watching a game against Cadiz and going, you know what, that means nothing. And it probably does mean nothing. But ultimately, if they play like they did there, and Van der Beek and Wan-Bissaka were just non-existent, absolutely non-existent, that's the feeling that Ten Hag's going to take going into the games against Burnley, games against Nottingham Forest in the second half of this season. He goes, well, I can't trust them then, can I? If I can't trust them to perform in a friendly against Cadiz, why on earth am I going to play them in the Premier League? That's what I think so anyway. You can let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll read a few of yours out. I think there's a couple of Santas down here in the comments. Yes, we do. We've got Gungshi and John. John, thank you very much, man. I haven't seen you gift in money. Gungshi, of course, is, he's the godfather, isn't he? Who are the lucky five today? Lawanda, Zane, Hooligan X, Dog and Justice, Niall Phillips, you are the lucky five. And John, who are the lucky five from John? Warren, Tan, Barry, not that Barry. Maybe it is that Barry. DS Joker and Tony K. Congratulations to all of you. And make sure you say thank you very much to the absolute dons that are John and Gungshi. Josh, you're saying, look, I kind of expected it. So disappointed with both Wan-Bissaka and Donny. And John, you're saying, look, tough one. If the players think they are not under consideration, then they do not. I know that, John, but I know you're right when you're saying that. But it's up to them to get out of that situation. The only way they can get out of that situation is forcing themselves into contention. I know it's difficult to do, but ultimately, you see the true colours of individuals and teams when times are difficult. When you're winning every game, when you're playing every minute, it's like, this is easy. This is great. When it's tough, when your back's against the wall, that's when you see a different side to that mentality. And Van der Beek, look, I know I think he got served a tough time right at the start. But Van der Beek, right? Actually, no, it was yesterday. You know, a stat that blew my mind. Brandon Williams has made over 50 first-team appearances with Manchester United. Brandon Williams. And I was like, what? Unbelievable. But yeah, yesterday. Liam saying that... You remember that? The stories that came out that Manchester United scouted over 800 right-backs. And we looked at them all and went, you know what? Wan-Bissaka's the one. And I really loved Wan-Bissaka when he came in. Look, you got Barry saying thank you, DS Joker and Zane. Legends. Welcome to the community. Make sure that you join the actual community, the Telegram and the members chat in there. Liam saying, why would Crystal Palace take Wan-Bissaka? I think they would. Wan-Bissaka would be a decent player for Crystal Palace, a team which naturally defends more. I'll tell you what, Patrick Vieira's certainly some U-turn from how they were playing under Roy Hodgson. They got some really exciting players going forward. Eze and Zaha. I enjoy watching them as well. Edouard, they're a good team. But I think that, yeah, I would like to see Wan-Bissaka go in there. I imagine that Manchester United will have to pay for some of his wages. There's no way that they're going to be able to afford that. And yeah, I got to agree with the comments down here as well. Maybe a bit strong saying awful, but Brandon Williams kind of played like Brandon Williams. I think if we're looking at other players, Thomas, I think Brandon Williams can serve a role inside this squad, and I think he'd be happy with that in this season. He can offer some sort of cover at left back and right back. He does have a real edge to his game, but you know how Scott McTominay's got that aggression to his game, but so often he gets such crap yellow cards. I'm like, dude, just be smarter. I think I put Brandon Williams in that category yet. Don't think the football IQ is quite matching up to that aggression, and therefore it's kind of being used as a negative rather than a positive. But look, enough of the moaning about the team there. Let's talk about this lad. I spoke about him before the game. We've spoken about him during the FA Youth Cup run last season. And I said he was one to watch. And he was one to watch in that second half. Kobbie came off the bench, and in that second half 11, there was 10 changes, I think, at halftime, apart from Dubravka in goal. And Kobbie Mainoo scored within 2 minutes. Nice bit of footwork on the edge of the box. Fired in a left-footed shot. Got a fortunate deflection. In it goes. Kobbie Mainoo's not somebody who's particularly known for his goal-scoring exploits, but he added that yesterday, and he just stands out above those players who are of a similar age or older. Remember that he's 17. I think he was the youngest player in that team yesterday, and you just can't tell. You just can't tell watching him. And I said in my match reaction, I said I don't like the Pogba comparisons in terms of playing style. The reason I understand the Pogba comparisons is because he just looks he doesn't look 17. He looks way too comfortable for that level of football. And yesterday was a tough second half up against a very experienced Cadiz team, which ultimately proved too much. And that's why they scored their goals, because we were just making silly mistakes. Especially it was Deschamps Bernard passed to Charlie Savage, and the ball just went through his feet. I don't know what he was doing, because his legs were closed at the same time as well. It's just snuck through his feet, and then that's when they scored their fourth. The society down here, you're saying Memphis would be a realistic short-term option. Start Martial, get top 4 and revisit strikers in the summer. Players to loan, lots of things to do now. There's going to be a big old shift in the next 12 months at United. Quite a few players going out the door. And we need to make sure that it's not about signing quantity anymore. You know, and Louis van Gaal, when we just went, Daley Blind, Schweinsteiger, Ander Herrera, Luke Shaw, everybody come in. We can't do that anymore. We need to make 2 to 3 really good signings rather than making 4, 5, 6 average ones. Let me see what you're saying down here in the comments about Kobbie. I'm not going to call him Kobbie. Roy is saying he was class, confident. Liam is saying the lads got taught a lesson. They absolutely did. I'm worried that our second choice 11 seems far. I mean, it wasn't really our second choice 11 yesterday. It was just like, you had Lindelof, you had McTominay, and you had Elanga. That's probably the players that were there from our second 11. The rest, Garnacho's pretty much in the first team squad. Martial is a first team player when he's available. Wan-Bissaka's not even second choice. I'm not looking too much at the results. I'm just focusing on individual performances, and I'm focusing on positives, because there are negatives to have. And as I said, I'm going to be running through Erik Ten Hag's comments. But in terms of the positive from the first half, I'm definitely going to be looking towards Zidane Iqbal. Zidane played in the Christian Eriksen role. That's the way I described it when watching him. He was somebody who was just looking for the ball all the time. He was kind of operating in the middle. He was actually kind of playing a deeper role behind McTominay and Van der Beek quite a lot of it. And he was effectively the person who was, when you switch the ball from left to right, there's one person in the middle, that the architect of that, goes from left to right, keeps it moving. Zidane played well. I enjoyed watching him. He's really, really comfortable with the ball at his feet. He kind of played pretty much how he played in the preseason and kept up that. I think he was impressive. I think Ten Hag will be happy with that individual performance. I think he would have been impressed with what Kobbie Mainoo did in that second half. And I think he would have been impressed with the ball retention and the ball use from Zidane Iqbal in that first half. I'm not saying that he pulled up trees, because he didn't, because that team was pretty disjointed. The team in the second half played better as a team because they've played with each other that much more. First half was an absolute hickledy-pickledy, wasn't it? You're playing McTominay, Van der Beek, and Iqbal in the middle. You're playing a back four of Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Mengi, and Williams. And it was only that front three of Elanga, man. Elanga, Ilanga's just not very technically good. Ilanga will be somebody that you can rely on to run the flanks, have the energy, throw in a tackle, do a 1-2 here or there. But I just don't think he's got the technical ability to stay inside this Manchester United team in the long term. And that's kind of what my gut's telling me. But I'm not going to be kicking him out anytime soon. I just think in the goodness of time, I think Ilanga will just be like slowly shifted out and then replaced by somebody who's more technically gifted. That's why I think so anyway. And Hura, you're saying Iqbal doesn't have strengths to be a box-to-box. I wouldn't say that in a long term, the position he played yesterday, I imagine he'll play more as a central midfielder rather than as... He kind of played like a defensive midfielder, positionally, anyway, but not in terms of how he played. Jibak, you're saying, didn't get to watch the game. Any chance Zidane and Mainoo can add depth to the first team? I don't think so this season. Maybe Zidane. I'm hoping that next season is going to be like in the same way that we've had this lad breaking through this year. We've had Garnacho breaking through this year. I imagine next year is going to be the year where we see Kobbie Mainoo get that same sort of treatment. In terms of the attack, Garnacho had some decent runs. He had some decent options. But he wasn't able and capable to really beat his man yesterday. I don't know whether that's because they were properly dubbing up on him. You can see him there, he's surrounded by 4 players. But it wasn't the best from Garnacho. It wasn't the best from anybody, really. And just the positives were that Martial was there scoring. Zidane Iqbal was there. Good ball movement is what I would describe it as. But Ilanga was poor. Garnacho tried, but wasn't able to do it. And then the midfield and the defence were pretty bad, man. I've got to be honest, they were pretty bad. Kobbie and Zidane for the future. Any chance Iqbal can be trained? Remember that's kind of what Ten Hag was speaking about. You know, when Ten Hag said about if we can't sign someone, we'll train from within. Of all the players that I've seen, the youngsters that I've seen, Iqbal strikes me as that sort of player more than anyone else. Somebody who really is confident receiving the ball from his defenders and just making sure that he doesn't lose possession. That's effectively his job. Make sure that whenever you receive the ball, that you pass it to a teammate. It's quite a simple role. Obviously, when you elevate it and you become even better to what De Jong can do, then you can make that pass 30, 40 yards, or you can burst through the middle. But I'm not saying that Iqbal is going to be our Frenkie de Jong, but in terms of the players that we've got inside the squad, I think Ten Hag's going to be looking at him as one of the best options for that. How many likes are we on now? Let's have a quick look. We're on 373. We've got 1,100 of you watching and 373 likes, which means 800 of you are sitting there right now, and you can get your finger, boom, put it over the button. Drop a like on it, and we can get the calendar box opened. It's Christmas. It's Christmas after all. Gerardo did look good. Whoever's mentioning that down there in the comments, I enjoyed watching him at fullback. This was the 11 in the second half. Look, you had Dubravka, you had Gerardo, Fredrickson, Bernard. Fredrickson looked okay. Sam Murray was all right. I'll be honest, Charlie Savage was a little bit average. More than average, actually. He made a big mistake. Hanson Aaron, you're talking about players that need to improve physically. That guy looks like a child. He really does. But I enjoyed watching him play. Emerin was probably the more impressive of the front three. And Charlie McNeil was disappointing, I'll be honest. Because we didn't get the ball up to him enough. Absolutely isolated up front. Completely isolated. Didn't have any opportunities. Was getting like shoved off the ball by, Cadiz's experienced team. And the experience really showed in that second half. You could tell that it was an FA Youth Cup team playing up against a team in La Liga. That's kind of what it was. He did make a nuisance of himself. It's ridiculously small. Ray, my opinion on Charlie McNeil is quite simple. He needs a loan spell. I know that he's been banging the goals in for the youth teams, but McNeil, for me, doesn't strike me as somebody who's ready for it just yet. And we've seen the benefits of loan spells in the last couple of years, and I think McNeil could really benefit from one. Whether that would be joining a championship team that's pushing for promotion, whether that would be joining a championship team that's just a mid... I think a loan spell to the championship would do him wonders. And I believe that's the next part in his career rather than breaking through into the first team. Viable solutions. Nice to see you there rejoining. And Sam, I have no idea what game you're talking about tonight. We're at 4. Oh, look at that, Ricky, man. Welcome aboard, Ricky. Where have you been? How you doing, Ricky? He's gifted 10 memberships. Man, absolute dons. I can't wait to do the what we've got lined up this week. Not this week, this month. We're gonna do a live call-in. We're drinking. Why not? It's Christmas. We're gonna try and do a live podcast as well. We're gonna try and get some different types of content, more interactive. Maybe get a few of you on screen to have a chat with me during December. That'll be good. But who are the lucky 10 that were gifted them from Ricky? Kai, Ken Long, Matt Gruber, Emma K, Thapello, Rahman, Thomas Clark, Mr. S, and David Lim. Oh, look, and Laik Manuel as well. Ricky for president. To be fair, if we're going to choose presidents down here in these, there's going to be quite a few contenders. We've got Alex, we've got Gungshi, we've got Warren G, we've got Ricky. I told you we're going to have a Mortal Kombat. The only way you can sort it fairly is with a big fight. That's the only way. Where's Wellard? No, let's not speak about extenders. Let's speak about Erik Ten Hag and his reaction to the game yesterday, because I think these quotes are, well, it's very Erik Ten Hag, isn't it? That's what I'm going down here. Sigmund as well. Can't forget about Sigmund. This is what Ten Hag said about the game. He goes, look, it's quite clear. We were not awake, still sleeping in the first 15 minutes. That's when we went 2-0 down. They are a threat in transition, and we have seen the second goal cannot happen. We were not awake in the defense, but also in the midfield. We got ran off. It's not possible, and it's not acceptable. Big word there. It's not acceptable. After that, we came into the game and we got a penalty. I think it was a clear one. And I think maybe the second half, we deserved another penalty. But the first one was a clear one. We came in the game, but we couldn't make the equalizer before half-time. Now, Erik Ten Hag there, wise with his words. It's not acceptable. And if you're looking at that starting 11, I ended up getting 9 out of 11. And I'll be honest, if I was really thinking about it, I should have got 11, because I was right that De Gea was going to be nowhere near that. He was sitting in the stands. And why would Tom Heaton have played ahead of our second choice goalkeeper in Dubravka? Stupid. I should have got that one. And if I'm being realistic, of course, Iqbal was going to start there ahead of Kobbie Mainoo, because Iqbal had an impressive preseason. So I really should have got 11 out of 11 yesterday. I'm a bit annoyed at myself that I didn't. But oh well. Mate, look at that. Mate, wow, it's absolutely Dominic down there as well. I love this community, man. Really is just one of the best things I've ever done in my life. Really is. It's amazing when you work hard at something and this happens and it creates this sort of community. I love it. I really, really love it. Craig, Robert, Zufika, Andrew Buckland, Afian, Carl Gallagher, Crowther, Andy, Lestin, and Richard. All of you say thank you very much to Dominic. We're nearly at 500 now as well. We only needed 40 more likes. Dubravka was a little bit weak, I'll be completely honest. He was. But Erik Ten Hag also spoke, let's bring these quotes up as well. He also spoke a little bit more about the second half too. He said this: they gave energy, they run, and they fight. Maybe not always in the right organisation, so they make mistakes because they're not used to playing at this level, but it was a good lesson. You see that if you make small mistakes, they can have big consequences, and that's what happened. And that's exactly what happened. If you saw it in that second half, Charlie Savage receiving the ball from Deschamps Bernard just wasn't concentrating at all. The ball slipped through his legs, and that made it 4-2. In the first half, just mistakes overall. Ten Hag is not happy at his senior players, and that's what I mean. Wan-Bissaka, Van der Beek, they needed to show more than they showed in that first half. Really was poor. Really was poor from them. Zul, you're saying thank you to the man himself, and so is Craig down there. And Paula, I know I'm biased, but I think it is. I think it really is such a cool community, man. Sam, thank you very much, everyone, for keep making this happen. And I can't wait for football to be back. As much as I'm enjoying the World Cup, I just love the path that we are on now as a football club. Finally, after years of just being in the swamp, feel like we've finally got the man in charge who can actually steer this ship and stay in control of it. The way he dealt with that Ronaldo situation the whole way through was, in my opinion, brilliant. From a public-facing perspective, we don't know everything that went on behind the scenes, but the way he handled that in public was brilliant. And one of the hardest things he could do against one of the biggest names in football. And finally, the Glazers have come out and said that they're considering selling Manchester United. It really is just it finally feels that we can have genuine optimism about our football club on and off the pitch at the same time. Stephen, I would agree with that point there, saying that you think the fourth goal was offside. It looked way offside. It really did look offside, but obviously it was given. They got their goal. What else are you talking about here? I'm going to read a few of your comments out down here. I think we're going to have to open a box quite soon, aren't we? We're at 479 now, so we've only got 20 likes left. What are we saying down here? Guess that almost guarantees a right back coming in. Well, Liam, it depends. Because as I said, I think there's a real possibility of Ethan Laird being called back from his loan spell at QPR after Mick Beale was sacked. No, not sacked. After he left and joined Rangers. Now that QPR have had a change of manager, I think it'll be a smart idea to bring Ethan Laird back. You don't know what that QPR project's going to be now because it wasn't what we signed up for. It's a different manager altogether. Which players do you think will play against Burnley? I mean, there's no point trying to guess that one just yet. But I imagine it's going to be as strong a team as possible. Of course it is. Erik Ten Hag, he's not full Mourinho in the idea that he's just going to play his starting 11 in every single game. But you saw it there yesterday in that game against Cadiz. He started with as many senior players as he possibly could. As much as he knows that giving youth team players is a good thing to do, he wants to have as much momentum inside this team as possible. And if that means playing your senior players, then that means playing your senior players. Hopefully, Christian Eriksen will play in that game. I mean, Christian Eriksen will play. He's had a big old rest. No offense to anybody watching from Denmark, but I was happy that Denmark got knocked out simply from a selfish perspective of the fact that Christian Eriksen has had a nice long rest. Dominic Sue with the comment of the day. Indeed, my friend. Indeed, my friend. Name your 5 players you want. It's a good idea for a video. If we're looking at dream signings for new owners, I mean, we can go full football fantasy in that video, really, because well, it depends. It depends on A, who buys us, B, when they buy us. If they buy us early enough that we can have a summer of free spending, then that would be good. That would be really, really good. Who else is down here in the comments? Brian asking about Amrabat. I mean, there are going to be quite a few players from this. Is it Amrabat the World Cup? I think it is. There's going to be quite a few players from this World Cup who everybody's looking at. Some more obvious than others, Ramos and Gakpo. Some a little bit more under the radar. But there's always going to be players that come out of the World Cup and they get signed. How many days for World Cup players? I don't know, Ruffy. Bear in mind that as long as Croatia and Morocco don't win it, apologise anyone watching from those two countries, but if Croatia and Morocco don't win it, then Man United have got a World Cup winner coming back. At least one World Cup winner coming back. And it might be 3, depending on whether Brazil or England win it. It's a good one. It's a good one. What else are you saying down here in the comments? Talking about Bellingham again. I mean, everyone's going to be talking about Bellingham. Even PSG are talking about Bellingham, saying everybody would want to sign him. There won't be a top club in Europe that doesn't want to sign Jude Bellingham. Craig is saying we look so disorganized, especially on set pieces. Mate, absolutely did on the set pieces. I mean, we always kind of look a bit sleepy on set pieces. I don't know what it is. Is it really still just about organization? Is it about coaching? Is it about practice? I don't know. But we still look a bit naff at set pieces. And you're saying, love that Ten Hag's nurturing the roots. Very proactive rather than reactive, mate. We've been asking for our bloody club to be proactive so much for so long. We're kind of bored of it being reactive. We go, oh, look, the horse is already bolted. Now we're looking. That's kind of what it has been for a long old time. Right. I think we've hit the 500, baby. Let's get this bad boy open. Let's get the Christmas. It's a good one today. I think you'll like this. I think so anyway. I love that photo. Absolutely cracks me up every single time. Right. Giveaway today. We've got a lovely United kit. Look at that bad boy. That retro. That sexy, sexy retro one. I don't want to give that away. I'm joking. I am giving that away. Gamer Beans, you asking who won yesterday's giveaway? It was, who was it? It was James Dockery. James Dockery, congratulations to you. if you check out, I've replied to you yesterday. I apologize if I don't tell you exactly who wins every day. I've got it all written down here, but you have to keep an eye on the comments. I'm sure you'll get a notification. I'm sure you get a notification whenever I reply to your comments, but I can't really chase up more than that. So you're going to have to slide into my DMs and give me your address, James. But it's James Dockery, who's also a member on the channel. So if you're watching, James, congratulations to you. You won the, what was it yesterday? It was the Fight the Glazers hoodie. One of these bad boys. Look at that bad boy. But today is this, right? It's a really good retro shirt. You're definitely going to be happy whoever wins that one. And the entry for this one is very, very simple. I'm sure you saw it yesterday, but there was a cracking goal by Roy Keane in, I think it was like ITV against BT Sport. No, against BBC. And he whipped off his shirt. He was celebrating. Made me laugh. We're going to do a video. Look, it's going to be on TikTok. I know that not everyone here has TikTok, but I've got 5 of these that I'm going to be giving away during December. So don't worry if you're not on TikTok, but whoever is on TikTok, make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you follow us on TikTok. That's going to be the entry mechanic. The video is going to go out around about 1 or 2 o'clock. So make sure you keep an eye on that. And everybody who drops a like on the video, leaves a comment, you're entered into the giveaway. All right. And as I said, I'm really trying to grow different types of content here on United People's TV. I'm here every morning, 9:30. Being on TikTok doesn't affect that. I'm here every single day at 12 o'clock with my lunchtime videos. Being on TikTok and YouTube Shorts doesn't affect that. And you're saying the shop needs updating. The photo of that hoodie makes the picture look a lot smaller than it is in real life. I don't know what you mean there, Ant. You're going to have to speak to me after there, mate, because I can't really comprehend that right now. But look, thank you very much, everyone, for joining in. Linton, if you don't have TikTok, try and get TikTok. As I said, I'll put it up on YouTube Shorts as well. You can drop a like on that video there. But it was good to see United back in action yesterday. It was a shame that it ended in 4-2 defeat. If we're being completely honest, it wasn't too much of a surprise. The second half and the young team that was there was a little bit inexperienced, and I think it sort of played. It was kind of obvious. Matt, you're saying wouldn't it be good if someone outside the UK won the prize? Matt, who was it? It was Miracle, who won the 1999 Christmas sweater. He's from Canada. Everybody here, doesn't matter where you live in the world, is entered into the draw. It's not just UK people. And Erik, you really don't have to worry about that, right? You really don't have to worry about that. But thank you very much, everyone, for joining in. Isn't it wicked how we hit 500 every day? So big up to all of you that drop a like on the video. We've still got 1,000 of you watching. There's only 500 likes. There's still 500 more of you who at the end of this one can go boom. Drop a like on it. It really does make a big, big difference. And it's free for you to do. And it helps the community. It helps that. But look, thank you very much, Gungshi. Thank you very much, Ricky. Thank you very much, John. Everybody else who gifted memberships. Everyone else who helped with the comments this morning. I love how engaging and interactive it is. Daisy, no one's ever going to see me dance. Jeez. Even at a wedding. Maybe at a wedding. Maybe. We'll see. But thank you everyone for joining in, and I'll speak to you soon. Well, I'll see you later on today. Make sure you watch that video today, by the way. It's going to be about the Glazers selling Man United. There was a really good article that came out with an interview from The Athletic, and I'm going to turn that into a video because it kind of gives us a little bit more understanding of, okay, what could happen next and when could it happen and how and why. That's what that video is about, because I think we all need to know more information on that. Take it easy, everyone. Have a good day.